Hi guys, I'm Farmer Nick and we're at Denver Green School Northfield and we're inside today with our aquaponic beds, and we've been growing all sorts of herbs and tomatoes, peppers in preparation for the growing season outside. And as you can see, during our absence from the school during COVID, many of our plants have taken off and are reaching new heights. And so a lot of these tomato plants are like far more mature than they can be for us to actually transplant them outside. But some of our pepper plants, on the other hand, are still small enough that they can absorb the shock of going outside. I'm going to pull the last pepper from this aquaponics bed over here, and then Matt is going to show you how we transplant and get that ready to go outside. And so I'm going to simply dig under the pepper plant and try to remove as many of its roots as possible. This pepper has a really nice established root system. As you can see here, we want to conserve as many of those roots as possible. We yanked this pepper plant out and it's going to be ready to transplant, and it's actually already flowering here too, and so producing some peppers, which is a really great sign that our aquaponics beds were successful. The two other tanks that we have, the fish are doing quite well. In fact, they're growing quite large now, and it's nice to see that their poop is getting used for our plants in really great tangible ways. And so that's a quick update on our fish here at DGS. And now over to Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm the Executive Director of Sustain Ed Farms, and Farmer Nick and I have been working a lot here at the Denver Green School and Inspire campus to get it ready for the summer. We're obviously keeping social distance 6 feet apart at all times so that we're staying safe, but it's really important to make sure that our farm is ready and producing crops for families. So Nick just pulled out this pepper plant from our aquaponics system, and it has this awesome root system. Any plant that's growing indoors eventually gets a root system that gets too complex and too tightly wound for what it's growing in. That was what was happening because we had so many different plants inside. The other thing is that these plants are not used to being in dirt. And so we want to make sure that our plants, just like we talked about in our hardening off video, are ready to go outdoors. And so one of the things that we did was pulled out all of these pepper plants in order to transplant them into dirt. Make sure that those root systems aren't shocked too much by keeping them in the greenhouse garage right now. And then we will harden them off outside and then get them ready to go into our garden. I also need to transplant many of our seedlings that are in smaller trays into larger containers so that their roots have more space to develop. So what I did is taking recycled items like this cup here, I drilled a hole in the bottom, as you can see, and I'm going to fill this up just about 1/4 of the way with dirt. I have a good potting mix here, and then what I'm going to do is very gently pull this out of its aquaponics container. Make sure that the roots are not tangled, and I'm going to set this inside our new container, making sure all the roots get inside. Now, I'm going to fill this all the way back up with dirt now, so that the roots are covered. And normally you'd want to do this outside so that you don't make a mess. I'm going to leave a little bit of room at the top so that water can sit on top and seep through. I'm going to pat it down, make sure no roots are exposed. What I want to do is immediately water it. So I have my watering can here. And I want to water it enough that water actually seeps through the bottom, because these roots are used to being submerged entirely in water. And so we want to make sure that it stays moist and wet. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know many of you don't have aquaponic systems at home, but the same thing that we did here can apply to your plants as you bump them up to larger containers. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.